Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. It is Let It Rip Friday.
Hi, I'm Linda Mitchell, 54-year-old elite obstacle racer, award-winning fitness competitor, gym owner, and author. Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat podcast, where we will approach the difficult topics of life, interview inspiring guests, and bring empowerment to all. This community is a place where we can be who we are instead of who others want us to be. Let's get started.
And now, a word from our sponsors, Essential Formulas.
Hi, this is Frankie Boyer, and I don't know about your lifestyle, but some days I need roller skates. My lifestyle is crazy busy, and I'm pulled in so many directions. It takes a toll on my health. That's why I am proactive. I don't go a day without my Dr. Ohhira's probiotics. It's just that important to me. As the expression goes, the road to good health is paved with good intestines. Dr. Ohhira's is not just a probiotic supplement, it's a complete flora balancing system, helping to bring your body back into balance naturally. Doctor recommended, made with organic ingredients, dairy and gluten-free, and needs no refrigeration. Perfect for travel. I believe that Dr. Ohhira's probiotics are the best probiotics on the market today. To learn more about Dr. Ohhira's probiotics, visit essentialformulas.com. Dr. Ohhira's probiotics are available at Vitamin Shop, Whole Foods, Sprouts, and other fine health food stores nationwide.
And I'm going to be talking today about comebacks. And if you have had a rough time, I know it's been a rough couple years, and you feel like you've gotten knocked down to your knees by a relationship, a job, an illness, an injury, betrayal. It can be so many things that knock us down. And sometimes we can be at the top of our mountain and we feel like we got pushed off to the bottom and we had to start from scratch. And I know I certainly felt like that last November. Last November, I had been through 3 horrific injuries, and I just felt like, I was probably weighed the most I've ever weighed. Even pregnant, I didn't weigh that much. And I felt fluffy and just like nothing I was doing was working and just stuck. But I made a decision when I ran a challenge, which I'm running again, but this time it's a little black dress challenge, but you could also do a skinny jeans. That's what I did last year. But I made a decision. I'm going to do this with everybody. I'm going to get back up. And I wasn't perfect. I didn't start out perfect, but I made that conscious choice to get back up. And now we're a year later from last November. And once you start getting up, it gets easier and easier to stay up. And what I found was deciding to do that during the holidays was the best decision ever, because it gave me a reason to say, no, I can't have that treat. I'm in a competition, though it should be enough to say no to people. It does give you that, no, I'm in a competition. And I knew when I was going to be on Times Square Boulevard, billboards, I didn't want to show up. I almost said Boulevard. I didn't want to show up the way I was feeling. I was kind of feeling blah. And I wanted to show up more like Zaza Zoom, right? So that you're in front of that billboard taking a picture. You don't want to be like, yeah, that was you before. You know how you would feel. And so that motivated me. So that was my next motivation. And you know what I kept doing? I kept setting, and I did 75 hard. And that was really hard because I did those 2 outdoor 45-minute work, or I think one had to be outdoors for 45 minutes. I did 2 45-minute workouts every day for 75 days. Though the hardest part of that was reading the 10 pages in a book every day. I know it sounds crazy, right? I love to read. But it really was a catalyst then all of that, challenging myself, even though I felt like I couldn't run my way out of a wet paper bag. And like 99-year-old women were passing me up, is what it felt like. And so, like, when you're in that mode and you know what you used to be, you keep comparing the old you to the you now. That's self-defeating. So I say, don't keep using that comparison. It's self-defeating. Comparing yourself to the old you is self-defeating. Accept where you're at now, surrender to the process, and move forward. Believe me, it is a game changer. So once I started moving forward, I kept moving forward, and I kept putting things in place to keep myself motivated. So the 75 hard really kicked me in the butt. But then I would be in my studio and I would realize, I'm running better. Oh, I'm actually running without pain, because the hamstring healed, but then the groin that ripped, the whole adductor bundle ripped from my pelvis, that was my entire groin. That was the most painful thing I have ever experienced, believe me. And yeah, that was heck. That was heck. So when you have something like that, and then you start progressing because you're pushing, I was just kept pushing forward. And then you recognize, I'm getting better. And then you start, I'm getting stronger. Oh, I think I'm doing that better than I did it before, when maybe it's 6 months to a year from that point. And then pretty soon you're back. You're back. You're back. But mentally, you may not be. You may not be. You may not be back in your mind. You may not be. You might still see yourself as broken. So you got to work on your mindset. You got to put in your mind who you are, what you want to be, and where you're going. And recently, my friend and I were going to do Fitness America, and she's been out for a while. And I had just done one show, but like I have been working like 24/7. I have a lot of things, irons in the fire right now. And so I was just like almost talking myself out of it. And she texted me and she was talking herself out of it. And it was a morning that I thought, I'm just going to pray and worship and listen. I do my church. They canceled my Saturday church. So I just go on my iPad. And so I'm listening to church, and it's Joel Osteen, and it's all about what? Not talking yourself out of your dreams. And a little before that, just during the singing and all that, I started feeling grateful, and really, actually, before I even heard the words, I was ready to receive them. But I started really thinking about where I was a year ago in November, and now it's going to be November again, and how grateful I am, and how far I've come. 35 pounds lighter, getting all my muscle back, feeling in shape, feeling strong, feeling healthy, feeling vibrant. And I started really realizing that I had come a long way, a long journey. And then feeling like, instead of beating myself up and sitting there critical of myself, I started celebrating. And boy, did that flip my mindset. And then I listened to the sermon, and the sermon was all about comeback. And I love this verse. I usually like to do a quote, but I feel like the quote, fall down 7, get up 8, came from this Bible verse. And it's in Proverbs. Let me look here. 24:16. I love that book. That's one of my favorite books because there's a lot of wisdom in there. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. I love that. So that is a promise from God you're trying to live right, you're trying to do right. And even though you fall 7, you're going to rise again. So to me, that speaks of comeback. That speaks of getting back up today. And one of the things that the points number 1 that I want to bring out is sometimes you have to have the lowest of lows to have the highest of highs. Even in jumping, because I like to use fitness as an analogy, if I want to jump on a high box, I have to go down to come up. I can't just stand up straight and get as high. So I think that is a good analogy for comebacks or for rising higher in life, is sometimes you have to go low to go high. Sometimes you have to come down to come up. And so if you've been down and you've been struggling and you have felt stuck, that is good news for you today. So hang on to that point. Again, number 1 is sometimes you have to have the lowest of lows to have the highest of highs. And then I love this one, and Joel said it, but I feel like I've heard Tim Storey say it, and it's been said a lot. But your comeback is going to be stronger than your setback. So there's 3 principles, though, that you have to make a choice. And the 3 choices are: you can stay stuck in your circumstances by taking no action. You can sink down even further by doing nothing at all, or you can rise up again. You can get back up again, even though the getting back up is hard and it's messy and it sucks sometimes, literally. I mean, I know physically it certainly did. The first burpee back was an eye opener, let's just say. I think everybody's eyes were like looking at me when I did my first burpee. But I just want to say, if you have been down and out, just get the ball rolling. Just start taking steps. And then maybe you can rewrite your story, which is my 3rd point. I feel like I rewrote my story in a year, because at some point you got to get back up, and it's going to take you a while. So why waste time staying down? Maybe recuperate. But when you're getting up, and it could be, like mine was last November and it's this November, I rewrote my story. So you can rewrite any story you want today just by deciding. It's a decision and a choice. And sometimes, getting back up is like the hardest, because it isn't easy. Let's say, you broke a leg. Let's say you lost millions financially, or somebody left you that you've been with for years on end. It might take you a little bit. So give yourself some grace and knock the critic off your shoulder and flip that mindset switch to on fire. Get out of your own way and recognize that you, of all people, can get back up today and be the champion that God created you to be. So I hope you've enjoyed this Let It Rip. And as always, keep on keeping on, everybody. Have a great weekend.
And I hope that all of our listeners have enjoyed this podcast. And if you guys have really enjoyed this, please review us in iTunes, and also share this episode with your friends and your loved ones. Thanks again for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat.